I'm going to tell you how to get rich using one method most people walk past every single day without ever noticing it. Take a second and think of the richest families you know of. They are families who kept it across generations, and they didn't do that by accident. They did it because someone at some point sat a kid down and told them a rule, a quiet rule, a rule most of us were never given. And here's the thing, that rule isn't hidden in a locker or something. It's actually incredibly simple, but it works like a secret language. And if nobody taught you to speak it, you probably don't even know it. Stay with me because end of this, you are going to see money completely differently. And I mean that. The rule is this. Rich people teach their kids to own things. Poor families teach their kids to earn things. That's it. That sounds almost too simple, right? But let me peel this back. Because when you really look at it, this one idea explains almost every wealth gap you have ever seen. When you grow up in a household where the goal is to get a job, you trained from childhood to trade your time for money. Study hard, get hired, get paid, and that system works. It keeps light on, but it also has a ceiling. There are only so many hours in a day. The moment you stop working, the money stops coming. Rich kids aren't just taught to get jobs. They are taught to understand what a business actually is. They are taught that if you own the thing people work for, the money comes to you whether you show up that day or not. They see their parents buying rental properties, holding share, running businesses, and slowly, almost by osmosis, they absorb this. The goal isn't to work for money. The goal is to have money work for you. And here's the brutal truth. The system was literally designed this way, not as some evil conspiracy, but as a structural reality. Capital gains, the money you make from owning investment, is taxed at a lower rate than income in most countries. In the US, depending on your bracket, you could pay half the tax rate on investment profit compared to a regular paycheck. The tax code, in black and white, rewards ownership more than labor. That's not an opinion, that's the law. Here's exactly how much money you can make under a minute. A small amount. Now let's talk about something that sounds terrifying to most people, but is completely normal to wealthy. And that's that if you grow up in a middle class or working class household, you were probably taught that debt is dangerous. And for the kind of debt most of us know, credit card debt, payday loans, buy now, pay later. That's completely true. That debt is a trap. But here's another kind of debt, the kind rich people use like a tool. Here's a simple example. A wealthy investor wants to buy a property worth $500,000. Instead of buying cash and draining their savings, they put down $100,000 and borrow the rest from the bank at say a 6% interest. The property generates $3,500 a month in rent. After mortgage payments, taxes, and maintenance, let's say $2,800 a month in cost. They are netting $700 a month in profit. Meanwhile, the property itself is appreciating in value over time. They used $100,000 of their own money to control a $500,000 asset. That's leverage. The bank didn't do them a favor. They did the bank a favor by borrowing, and then they turned that borrowed money into income. This might be the ultimate money hack. This is why rich people are often heavily in debt on paper and still getting wealthier, because their debt is attached to assets that grows. Poor debt is attached to thing that shrinks. A car you financed, a TV on a payment plan. One kind of debt makes you richer. That other kind quietly drains you, and most of us were only ever shown one kind. Now I want to be honest with you about something, because this channel doesn't do sugarcoating. A lot of the habits that keep people financially stuck, they don't feel like mistakes. They feel like completely normal, because they are normal. They are what everyone around you is doing. Your life is boring because you don't do one thing. Your financial life stays stuck because the habit that traps you feels exactly like safety. Spending every paycheck because that's what you see the people around you doing. Avoiding investing because it feels like gambling. Renting forever because the mortgage sounds scary. Working overtime instead of building a second income stream because overtime feels certain. These aren't character flaws, they are just patterns absorbed from your environment, and patterns can be interrupted. The moment you realize that normal isn't the same as correct, that's the moment the game changes for you. So what does switching sides actually look like? Because I'm not here to just describe the problem and disappear. This guy made serious profit in one day using a technique he's about to use. Let me show you the entry point most people miss. You don't need to be rich to start thinking like someone who owns things. You just need to start with whatever you have. Here's what $50 can actually do. Platforms like Freetrade in the US let you buy fraction shares. $50 buy you a piece of the S&P 500, an index that tracks the 500 biggest companies in America. Historically, since 1957, the S&P 500 has returned an average of roughly 10% per year before inflation. That number fluctuates. There are bad years, and past performance doesn't guarantee future results. But the long run direction has been up. You're not getting rich overnight, but you are doing something powerful. You are becoming an owner. $50 in a board market index fund isn't life-changing money, but the habit is life-changing because $50 a month compounds, and the mindset compounds faster than the money does. The same $50 a month invested consistently at a 10% average annual return grows roughly around $110,000 over 30 years. Not from being wealthy, from being consistent. 30 seconds of financial advice I'll give my best friend if he were starting from scratch. Start owning something, anything. Even a fraction of something, not because it will make you rich next year, but because you need to feel in your bones what it means to have money working for you instead of the other way around. Here's what I want you to take from this. The gap between rich and poor isn't mostly about efforts. Hardworking people are everywhere, in warehouse, in hospitals, in classrooms, putting in brutal hours. The gap is about what you have been taught to do with what you earn. Rich families pass that knowledge down like heirlooms, and if yours didn't, that's not a life sentence, it's just a starting point. You're watching this video, you already broke the pattern once just by being curious enough to look. Now take one more step, open an account, buy your first share, read one book. The knowledge that was kept from you isn't locked away, it's available. You just have to decide to go get it. If you like what you learned here, drop a comment telling me which part hit hardest for you, because next video goes even deeper and you don't want to miss it.